Hello, class, and welcome to week 8, part 2. Sorry, I got cut off mid-sentence in the last video. So, as I was saying, I was kind of wrapping it up about the graphic organizer that you are completing this week. That is in addition to the other graded assignments we have. Well, we kicked off the week, of course, with our virtual class. And if you were not able to attend the virtual class, you have to, as always, write the 3-paragraph summary and submit it to the alternate assignment Dropbox for the virtual class. And last week, during week 7, you wrote your draft for essay 2. You composed your own essay question and you answered it with a thesis statement and thesis points, and then you wrote your draft from that. I've given you feedback on your draft, and the next step is to revise your draft into a viable essay 2, a final version of it. And one of the tools we're using to help you do that is the graphic organizer that I've been telling you about. I'm going to pull it up again. Let's see. Here it is, the graphic organizer. So where I got stopped was basically it's a great tool for you to use. As you can see, when you fill it out, you're just going to write in these little boxes right here. You'll write your thesis point controlling idea. You'll write your quote that paragraph is using, and you'll write the discussion of the quote. And you will do that for each body paragraph. And you will also start off your essay with filling out the introductory paragraph material here. Yes, that was my little son here. He was just doing a little visit to the class. No, actually, he's my big son. So you would write your hook in here, whatever it is that you're going to try to interest the reader with, and kind of reel them in, hook them and reel them like a fish. You will explain your topic. What are you writing about? And why is it important? We got so much of this stuff going on in our world today, right? Just last night, I think, the news broke about, we've got Ellen Page, who's become Elliot Page. We've got Bruce Jenner, who's become Kylie Jenner. So all of this gender and identity and sex and sexual orientation, all of these topics are very much in the news, very topical. Gay marriage is now legal. That was not so, say, even in the 1990s. So a lot has changed, and there's been a lot of thinking on the topic. And so it should be very much on the brain, and hopefully we all have ideas, especially after doing the readings we've done and watching the videos. So, and toxic masculinity too. I think that's quite a contemporaneous topic too. There's a lot in the news about that. A lot of different music maybe makes reference to toxically masculine ideals, and how it's acceptable for certain people to act and not acceptable. But of course, we've also seen, I really think, a sea change there too, where it would have not been acceptable, say, maybe a few decades ago, for men to embrace their feelings and cry. Now, I think that, there are sectors of society that would not respect that, and other sectors of society that would really respect that. All right, so those are the kinds of things you can talk about to hook in your audience, to explain and contextualize your topic, and then lead into the question that your essay is asking, which then, of course, is answered in your thesis statement. And your thesis statement will need to have at least 3 thesis points, because remember, we said the essay 2 needs to have at least 3 body paragraphs. All right, so you want to do at least one, you want to do 1 thesis point per body paragraph. If you want to have more than 3 body paragraphs, you can. But remember, it's a short paper, so you want to develop your ideas. So a lot of times you want to choose something that it's kind of honed in so that you can develop it well. You have the space and the time to do it. All right, so that is basically the graphic organizer, and you will just type straight on it, just the way it is shown in this sample body paragraph 1. You just write it out. Oh, and look here, this is where we put something where it says women show lots of feelings. Women are stereotyped as too emotional. But we crossed it out because we're like, you know what? That actually doesn't have anything really to do with toxic masculinity. I mean, it has to do with gender, but it doesn't have to do with the very focused topic of toxic masculinity is bad for men. So this is where you can actually evolve your essay, right? and check your logic, check your flow, see if it all adds up, see if something's a tangent, see if it tends to bolster the controlling idea or the thesis point for the paragraph. And then the whole thing, see whether points 1, 2, and 3, or however many thesis points you have, add up to the thesis statement and to proving your overall answer to the essay question. All right, that's the graphic organizer. Let's hop back over to class so we can see some other things we're doing this week. All right, this is really important, the revision checklist for Essay 2. When you are done writing your essay to graphic organizer, and before you turn in your essay, you want to do that. But before you do that, I have a neat video. Let's hop on over to the videos for this week. Here we go, week 8 videos. We have annotating your own draft as a revision technique. Now, I did not make this video. A friend of mine actually made it, and it talks about how you can annotate your own essay draft to be able to help yourself revise it. Now, this is kind of like what I do for your essays, all right? And I did it for your essay draft that you submitted during week 7. And when you got it back, you go into the My Grades gradebook feature for the class, and there's a little under feedback. You'll see your grade, and you'll see a comment from me. And in that comment at the very top is a hyperlink to your paper. You double click on that hyperlink, and it should download your paper. And that paper is not what you originally turned into me. It has your original text, but it has all my comments on it. Now, my comments are annotations. Sometimes I cross things out. Sometimes I put little notes inside the text. Sometimes I put little marginal notes. That's all annotation. So what I sent back to you and what I sent back to you for essay 1 and what I've sent back to you for other writing assignments you've done, like the system of privilege essay or the connection chart or the free write or the sex and gender summary, all of that stuff I have annotated for you. So you have seen week after week after week how a person can annotate writing to be able to make comments that show you places that need more clarity or more examples or more explanation, or things that need to be taken out or things that need to be added. So all of that I have shown you through my weekly annotations on your writing. And now it's your turn to do it to your own writing. And when you do it, you will go through your essay very carefully and say, hey, does this make sense? Does this logically flow? Does this detail actually relate to the rest of the paragraph? And if it doesn't, strike it out, take it out, or make a note of it saying, hey, maybe we need to take this out. Maybe we need to put something else in. Or maybe this isn't clear. Maybe I need to explain it more, or I need to provide more context. Or maybe I've made a controversial statement without substantiating it with any sort of research or expert opinion or statistic. Because if you make a controversial statement, something that is not generally accepted by everybody, your reader's not going to just take your word for it. Your reader wants to see proof. Kind of like you're a lawyer in front of a judge or a jury, and you need to provide that evidence, and then the judge/jury will accept it. All right? That's when you make a controversial, not obvious statement. Okay, so you can make comments like that when you annotate on your own paper. Also, you might want to annotate for places where you left out words, or you're like, this sentence doesn't make sense to me now. I don't know what I was thinking. I need to rehash this. Or maybe sometimes we do this, especially when we're talking, we will start a sentence one way and then mid-sentence we switch to a different structure. Okay? Like I might say, I feel that, well, I don't really know. So you see how I just kind of switched my thought process right in the middle. If we're doing that when we're writing, that's not going to work to a reader who's not in your brain and who doesn't have you there to clarify meaning. So reread your essay. You can maybe even have somebody else read it too, because they can also catch places where you've maybe switched phrasing in the middle of a sentence, or you've left a word out, or you used the wrong word, or you maybe didn't agree your subject with your verb, like you said she have instead of she has, things like that. you might be able to catch reading it carefully through, or somebody else might be able to catch it. Sometimes in our own brains, we fill in the gaps, like we read what we expect to read. So that's why a lot of times it is helpful to have somebody else read it. But if you're just reading it yourself, if you give yourself some time from when you wrote it to when you're reading it, that also helps us not maybe fill in the gaps as much, so that we catch things. We see it with a new eye, a fresh eye, and catch things that we maybe wouldn't have caught before. All right, so that is annotating your own draft. And you're going to use two of those annotations that you made on your own paper. You're going to share them in the discussion forum. So that's another graded assignment. You're going to share two annotations that you've made on your own paper, and you're going to say why you made those annotations and what you're going to do about them. And then you're also in the discussion forum. Let's click over to the discussion forum. You're also going to talk about your experience with essay one. All right, like how did it go? What did you think of it? What would you do differently? What went well? Oh, sorry, that is the form itself, not the questions. What went well? What didn't go well? What do you want to do differently for essay two? All right, those are the kinds of things you're going to be posting on the week 8 discussion forum. You also will be responding to two other students' posts, just as you always do. So that's the discussion forum. And then I have a little video here on reverse outlining. That is when you've written your paper and then you go back and you outline it afterwards. And it kind of helps you check your logical flow. Is everything making sense? Does everything relate? So because sometimes when we get writing, we lose track of where we're going. So it's helpful when we're done to go back and just make sure, did I stay on the right path that I laid out from the beginning? Okay, here's an important difference between essay 1 and essay 2. For essay 2, you have to have a works cited page. And here I have a video on the MLA works cited page, how to do it. But in addition to a video on it, I also have a really nice handy dandy reading about it. You know, sometimes people are better at seeing things in print, and sometimes people are better at seeing things in a video format. And sometimes people benefit from both, like seeing them both. They just reinforce each other. All right, so here I have the information on the ICE method again, because that's what you need to do with your quotations. You need to introduce them with a sentence and a colon, and then include the quotation. And that at the end of the quotation, you need a parenthetical citation. Now, you only need that parenthetical citation if you have not identified the author's name and the title of the source from which you are taking the quotation. If you haven't done that in your introductory sentence or in another one nearby, then you would have to repeat the author's name in the parentheses that occur at the conclusion of the quotation. So after the quotation marks go and before the terminal punctuation, like the period or whatever. That's where you would put your parentheses and you put the author's name in. Now, if you have a source that has page numbers, you would put the author's name and the page number. Now, say you have a quotation where you introduce the author's name and the title of the source from which you were taking the quotation. You introduce that in the sentence itself and put the colon and then the quotation. And you did have a page number, you would still put the page number in the parentheses at the conclusion of the quotation, after the quotation marks, but before the period. All right, but a lot of the readings we do not have page numbers because they come from the web. So in that case, you don't include a page number. If there isn't a page number, you don't put one in. You only do that when the source does have a page number. All right, so now down here, I also have this MLA format for quotations, parenthetical citations, and works cited page. So that will give you the step-by-step instructions you need to be able to cite your quotations properly and do those parenthetical citations if you need to, and then you are required to do the works cited page. You don't need to stress about that because really it doesn't take any sort of critical thinking to do it. You just have to learn the format. It's the Modern Language Association format, MLA. You can go to Purdue OWL. I've given you that website address in this document if you want more information, like if you have more examples that you need to see and things like that. That's a good source. So that is everything for this week. Good luck. You can always reach out to me through email. We have our weekly virtual live class sessions, so you can ask me questions there too. And you can reach out to each other on the discussion forum or me on the discussion forum. So hopefully with all of these resources, we're going to get through it. You're going to complete essay 2. And then after that, you only have one major writing assignment to go and you are done. So happy reading, happy writing, happy revising this week. All right. Thanks, guys. Bye.